I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight. Referees telling two fighters who want to fight to calm it down? He should calm down.
So he's like a clown in his show, man. He's not your guy.
Because Tyson Fury's back, and all you motherfuckers are under attack. Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Can you let me retire and be happy? Please, just please.
Bombs away from the Bronx Bomber!
Wilder! Let's go, baby! Let's go!
I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
I got dropped, man. Are you kidding?
No, you won the fight.
OMG, I am so excited.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. I hope everyone's having a great day. This is MCR. If you're listening on podcast form, drop that 5-star review. If you're listening on YouTube right now live, hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, all that YouTube shit out of the way. I am Matt, the Hipster Hunter. You can find me at Matt Hunter MCR, all platforms. And obviously I'm joined by the illustrious Mr. Robbie Hearns himself, second cousin, twice removed of Eddie. And before I get to pleasantries and show topics, some quick housekeeping items before we get to Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury getting another offer, AJ and Miller, and sort of that fallout from the press conference. More information coming out from the purse. For the purses for either guy. And plus, just again, like I said, the fallout, the hangover of that press conference yesterday. I feel like it looms over a lot of us. Plus, Lomachenko, Crolla being announced. So much to get to. But like I said, before we get to that, some housekeeping news. Because of MCR, let's get some dramatic music out, Rob. I feel like some dramatic music for this little housekeeping item, you know? Because MCR is slightly planning, to go to AJ Miller in June. We are doing a one month money drive. So everyone out there listening, we have about 500 to 1,000 listeners per show on YouTube, another 200 to 500 on podcasts. All of you out there listening right now, since this is the beginning of the show, listen up. This is how we're going to do it. All the proceeds on Patreon the next month goes directly towards camera equipment for Rob and Fugatti, and also for travel expenses for all of us to get to New York to cover AJ Miller live. Let me turn off music. Rob is not confirmed yet, but we are trying to get Rob to the Monday London press conference for AJ Miller. And while he does have some equipment, we want better equipment because we want to give you guys the best content with the highest quality. So again, go to patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. $1 a month. That's all we are asking. And again, for only 1 month. After this month is over, you can cancel subscription. You can cancel all that. It's no big deal. No hard feelings. We understand. All we ask for is 1 month, $1. That is it. Plus, you get about 3 to 4 other shows per week with that $1 a month. And again, all proceeds go towards this event, goes towards camera equipment so we can get better interviews. Rob can start traveling around the UK because I know that's a huge hotbed. So again, patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. Link is below in the description of the video or podcast. Go click on that, see if you like it. We've had a lot of new patrons recently. I hope all of you guys are enjoying the content. And honestly, like I said, all of the proceeds go towards this show, making it better, and obviously trying to get this event organized for AJ Miller in New York. But digressing from all of that and housekeeping that is, like I said, Matt Hipster, Robbie Hearn. Rob, how are you doing today on this fine hump day, Wednesday, over there in the cold UK right now? I assume it's cold because it's winter, but might be.
That's pretty mild. That's not too bad.
My heater broke. My heater broke in my house. So I'm freezing. So
you always wear a jacket.
That's true, but I'm wearing like 2 jackets now. That's crazy.
Jackets, damn. Yeah, I guess it just depends what you're made of, I guess. But
totally messed up on that. I was supposed to do this, but you know, they both start with E. They're right next to each other.
E, what's the
Epic Choir Suspense is this.
Oh my God.
Yes. I didn't name this one. I'm pretty sure that was just named when I got it. And then obviously the emotional one's emotional. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that one. Just when you said they were both beginning with E, I was like, damn, what's the other one called? But yeah, anyone, if you can help out, like Matt said, that would be truly greatly appreciated. I want to do the best job I can, and if, like Matt said, it's not confirmed or official yet, but we've got someone helping us out, trying to get me to the Monday presser, and obviously over to New York for fight week for Big Baby Miller and the Joshua fight there. So any help would be truly appreciated, because obviously we're not monetized yet on the channel, so we're not sitting here raking it in with you guys with your lovely comments, about my wonderful hairline and shit like that.
Honestly, if we were monetized, we're still not raking it in. So Patreon is always helpful.
Yeah, I know. I was just pointing out the fact that we just recently upgraded to a community pay tab on the channel, so onwards and upwards. But we're still waiting on YouTube in the review process to get us monetized. But anything you could do to help is truly appreciated, and it's going to the right areas. It's not don't think suddenly I'm going to rock up in some supercar or any shit like that.
Or like it's not going towards like vacations or
yeah, because who wants to go to
non-necessities like alcohol or drugs. Like, it's not going to like anything like that. Like other patrons sort of run their money through. It doesn't go towards 6 vacations a year for us. No, it goes towards equipment. It goes towards paying for overhead costs for the show, because there are overhead costs for the show monthly. So again, we want better equipment. Like we want Rob to get camera equipment so he can go around the UK. I mean, we have a huge UK audience, and we don't have really any UK interviews. Like we don't have Rob going out to gyms because there's no good camera equipment that he has, and B, we don't have the finances to really support that. Patreon right now is the only way to do that. And again, all we're asking for is just 1 month, because I think if the 500 to 1,000 of you do it, we can get what we want in a very quick amount of time, and that would be very helpful.
But
I don't have a but there.
No, I do.
Oh,
but
okay.
On with the show.
Yes, on with the show. Digressing. Let's get to. I mean, what do you want to get to first, specifically? I kind of want to get to the Wilder Fury stuff first, but
yeah. Do Bob Arum and his tremendous offer?
His tremendous offer, yes. Obviously, Top Rank Bob Arum to make an offer to Deontay Wilder for the Tyson Fury rematch. Let's play a little bit of the audio from this interview. I think it was on Sports Center. I don't know exactly.
I think so.
Himself said that as far as networks...
Let me rewind it. Sorry.
Deontay Wilder himself said that as far as networks are concerned, he's a free agent. Today, we are sending out an offer to Deontay Wilder, which will also go to his manager, Shelley Finkel, and his advisor, Al Heyman, making this offer, which is a tremendous one,
by the way,
to do the fight between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. The public deserves to see the best fights, and if promoters can't work together to present the best fights, shame on the promoters.
Yes. I love how you mentioned Al Heyman there, even though he said he doesn't exist. But digressing, Rob, your thoughts on this new, quote, tremendous offer to Deontay Wilder for the Tyson Fury rematch, obviously with Tyson Fury now signed to ESPN. Again, your thoughts.
Yeah, interesting. Obviously, Bob had said previous to this that, he thinks Fury and Wilder should get another fight first and then look to do this fight in September. But I think he's obviously spoken to, Frank Warren and this, that, and the other, saying we want the fight next, so let's make this fight. So they've put something together, and I guess it's going to test just how much of a free agent Deontay Wilder really is. We'll see if will Al Heyman be willing to let you know, as his advisor, let him go over to ESPN with the potential of coming back without the belt. And things like that. I don't know. It's going to be interesting just to see. You know, it'd be great to hear what this tremendous offer is, because I think it eventually probably would get leaked out. And if it was deemed that Deontay didn't take it, that's not a good look. You know, after coming out after ESPN made the deal with Fury, his response was, "I could do what I want. I'm a free agent. I can go wherever I want." And then if it's, "Well, come over here," then, "Oh no, I'm not taking that off." So it's going to be interesting how it plays out, but. Obviously, we'll wait on a response. I'm sure World Boxing News, which seems to be Shelley Finkel's sort of go-to outlet where he drops information and stuff. I'm sure something will be coming soon because they'll be on the phone trying to find out. But yeah, it's obviously great news as far as, you know, this fight isn't dead in the water as such. You know, Bob's sort of come out with this offer, which has sort of reignited. You know, the fight possibly happening. You know, initially the news was like, "Oh damn, does that mean this fight's done with?" You know, is it going to happen? Is it going to be next? Is it this? Is it that? But there's a new offer on the table, so let's see where it goes. But yeah, it's good.
I have a couple thoughts about this because obviously when you first hear this, I think initially most people should be skeptical because Bob Arum has said tons of contradicting things, not only throughout his career and in recent memory, but specifically with this matchup. Like he has come out and said, like, we want like a in-between fight, and then they fight in September, I think is what he is quoted as saying. And then he's quoted as saying, like, well, we want to make Wilder fight. I'm curious as to the validity and the seriousness of this offer, of course, because we don't know the details of it. No financial information was given out. So how tremendous is it? I think there's a right to be naturally skeptical of that. But tabling that, because I think that's just, we don't know, right? Like, that's just a matter of, like, yes, there's a big question mark still with this offer. I think that should be stated, but there's not a lot of fun to debate that or discuss that. So tabling that, let's say that this is a valid offer and it is a decent offer for Deontay Wilder for this fight. I've been sort of trying to think of what would the reasons be for him, or I should say for Heyman and his team, to sort of okay this move, and what were the reasons why they wouldn't okay this move? Because that's really, I think, what this fight now hangs on, is if Heyman and company decide to do a calculated risk of keeping arguably their biggest commodity, Deontay Wilder, within their networks, their affiliate networks, obviously Showtime and Fox. Because let's be honest, from a first quarter perspective, second quarter perspective, what really is on the PBC schedule that's going to light up views, light up pay-per-view buy rates? Not really a lot. Like, you have the Pacquiao-Broner buy rate, which I think they're happy with, but maybe not completely happy with, because those guys would guarantee a lot more than Wilder and Fury, even though maybe the payout would probably be equal when all said and done. But, again, guaranteed money, from what we know, the payout for that fight was a lot more. So the break-even aspect is a little bit different there. And, again, their slate of TV numbers, TV main events, the viewership it could really bring in. Is it going to be enough to where they can go back to Fox and Showtime after these big deals, after this first quarter numbers come in, and they have meetings and they say, yes, we're producing good content for you. Yes, you guys are happy with us. If that is at any risk, I could see Heyman and company saying, no, we're going to keep Wilder on Showtime, on Fox. Even if we don't get him to fight so-and-so, or Tyson Fury on ESPN, we can make him fight so-and-so on Showtime and Fox, get big ratings, and our investors / our new networks will be happy. That might be a calculated risk they attempt. But on top of that, we've seen before with lesser commodities for PBC and Al Heyman, like a Daniel Jacobs, he has no issue sending them off and taking big fights if the big fight is available and there's big money available, right? We've seen that. But I think it goes without saying that Wilder is a different chess piece than a Daniel Jacobs on the board, right? In terms of value, in terms of what they bring to PBC. So it's going to be a calculation sort of decision, in my opinion, from Heyman, Shelley, Wilder. Do they stick with their affiliated networks because they sort of need that big draw so everyone's happy with this deal? or do they risk it and say, hey, let's send Wilder to ESPN. We're going to get a big splash over there. Wilder's going to make a ton of money, and afterwards we can make the fight on Showtime or Fox pay-per-view for the trilogy, or we move on. I don't know. I ultimately have a hard time figuring out what I would do in those shoes, because there's a reason why I would pick either route, to be honest. What do I think is going to happen? I still don't think we're going to get the fight. Like, I don't think we get Wilder Fury 2 next. Even though it seems like both parties are still inclined to make the fight, this just still seems like such a major roadblock that was not there a week ago. Regardless, let's see what plays out. Let's see if more information comes out about this deal. Let's also see what happens with the WBC in this purse bid situation and then maintaining the fight. That's a whole nother aspect to it. And maybe it becomes a non-issue. Like, maybe the WBC is toothless, and they are, and like they won't really be strict about this mandatory. And let's be honest, that's more than likely. But if they don't, that's a huge wild card for this matchup, and it needing to be made in Wilder and company's eyes. So that's really all I have to say about Wilder Fury and this new offer, because all we know is it's a, quote, tremendous offer. That's not a lot for me to go off of in terms of whether or not I would accept it if I'm Wilder and that team. There's still a lot of options for them that they can make money, that their networks will be happy, and, you know, business moves on. Everyone still makes millions. That can still happen even without fighting Fury. That is just a reality. I know people don't want to accept that, but Wilder versus Dominic Brazil on Fox does 3 million views, 4 million views. That is a money-making fight still. May not be as much money-making as a Tyson Fury fight, but it's still their network. It makes their business relationships happy. That could be a big part of why we don't get this fight. Rob, any last thoughts on this? Any sort of points you want to discuss?
I kind of agree. But like you said, I'm interested in what the WBC do, because now there's this tremendous offer that's coming from ESPN, you know, trying to negotiate the fight for it to happen that they have ordered. And if Team Wilder or Heyman or whatever from that side of the thing say, no, look, you're not going over to ESPN, you're our fighter, we're going to have you on Showtime, we've got commitments to our networks. You know, we've just recently signed a deal, and you are part of that deal, and you're going to be fighting on Showtime. And it doesn't happen, then, you know, what the WBC does, or does it still go to this purse bid? Or is a purse bid going to be cancelled? All talks are broken down. Fury's move has thrown a spanner in all this works. So we're going to see what the WBC are kind of made of in this mess. You know, as the sanctioning body, I think they should have kind of come out and said something to a point that.
They have said something, but it was very vague, I think. It was like Sulman came out and said he wasn't happy with it and that they were going to look into it, something to that effect.
Yeah.
But, of course, nothing committal, like nothing that was going to make them side either way.
No. I mean, I guess they kind of got to try and stay down the middle with it. Obviously, they've got their champion, but they've also got their guy that they've ordered this fight. But I just feel like something should be announced soon regarding the WBC. Like, right, if you've got a further, I don't know, 7 to 14 days, and the purse bid, it follows that, or you know, come out with some kind of hard stance on it, or whatever, because everyone now is just complete up and up. You know, no one really knows what's sort of about to happen with this. Yes, there's an offer, but there's the network thing that's stopping things, or potentially is a roadblock, and then there's, you know, what are the WBC going to say in the middle of all this? And so it's a bit of a mess right now. It's all, this whole Fury deal on Monday is just totally, you know, not upset the apple cart. It's caught fire. There's apple juice running down the road. It's mental, you know. It's totally thrown things into complete chaos. So yeah, again, we can only report it when it comes out, but really we need more information each time these little snippets come out before we can really properly put it together.
Let's put this into perspective here, how shocking this Tyson Fury deal is. And I think how we still need time to sort of like understand it and like come to grips with it. Triple G still doesn't have a deal made. That's how long that negotiation process has been for Triple G, DAZN, PBC, ESPN, etc. And Tyson Fury out of nowhere, overnight, boom, £80 million deal, $100 million deal. God damn. Shout out to Tyson Fury, man. Also, I can't wait to see Triple G's deal now, post Tyson Fury. Right? Like, totally off topic, and we don't really need to discuss it like at length, but I am very curious to see what DAZN now has to offer Triple G, because I don't think they were offering him more than $20 million per fight. I don't think that.
Well, just a little update on Triple G.
Well, hold
on. Name redacted. Bob Arum said that ESPN and Bob Arum claims ESPN have opted to cut off all negotiations with Gennady Golovkin because they didn't like Golovkin's attitude and decided that he was not worth the trouble. However, he added that if Triple G wanted to renegotiate now, then ESPN may still approve it.
Wait.
We don't like your attitude.
Well, ESPN saying, okay, we're cutting off all negotiations right now because Triple G's attitude is like poor. But hey, if he still wants to negotiate, we're actually kind of open. But we're not open.
Fuck him and his attitude. We don't want no part of it. Wait, what? You want to come and play? Yeah, of course, come over. It's such a hard stance. I love it. But yeah.
I wonder what
Bob Arum said it, so he'd have been mumbling and stumbling his way through.
Wait, is that a Bob Arum quote exactly, or is it like a Todd DeBuff or Carl Moretti quote?
It's Arum. It was Arum on Name Redacted.
Okay, that's funny, man. That's a good time, man. Shout out to Bobby Arum, man. I wonder what the Frank Warren negotiation was like with Bob and then Tyson Fury. I wonder what that. I just fly on the wall. Would have loved to have been there.
Bob Arum, Warren, and Fury. Fury in the middle, like, oh my God. Like,
you know what's funny is I bet Fury is actually really easy to negotiate with, like, in a sense. I think Frank probably does all of it for him.
Fury would have been, right, Bob, show me the money. Where do I sign?
Like, he's cracking jokes while, like, Frank Warren and Bob Arum are discussing, like, percentage deals and shit like that, right? Like, that's how I view it. But digressing. But still
Who can I fight? Rivas? Dosser. Pulev, Dosser. Jennings, double Dosser. I'm just saying.
Anyways, Jennings, if you hear that, relax. Okay, I know you get upset a lot. That's what Fury would be saying, not what we're saying.
Yeah. I'm just doing an impression. It's not necessarily the thoughts of MCR.
Yes, we definitely need like a disclaimer.
Yeah,
at the beginning of the show.
I just don't want ad lib, but Bryant Jennings.
But, can we have a disclaimer on the show saying it's like, hey, the opinions herein are not the opinions of MCR when we are MCR? Like, it's me and you and, like, maybe Fu when he feels like it.
If I attach a voice to it, it's fine.
Oh, like a different voice?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, we should do that. We should do that. Anyways, digressing. Big Baby Miller. God, man, he is making bank in this fight. It looks like the initial reporting of him making, like, $6.5 million for the Joshua fight is actually pretty, not official, but he has come out here and said that to Keith Idek and boxing scene. So I'm not saying it's absolutely true, but I bet his guarantee pay is going to be like $1 or $2 million. And the back end, he's probably making total 6.5, right? I don't think his disclosed pay is going to be this number. But just like, Fury came out and said, I'll give my $8 million purse to the poor, right? His disclosed purse was $3 million. But I think it's pretty safe to say that he got more than that, right? Like, we don't need to go down that argument and explain to our listeners. I think all of our listeners are savvy enough to understand that. But damn, Miller making $6.5 million. I wonder what they're offering Dylan White. Like, this always makes me more curious as to how that negotiation really fell apart, or if it really did. Like, maybe it was just a matter of, hey, we just want Miller more.
Joshua told Coogan after the presser that we offered Dillian over $5 million.
And that's roughly what, like $7-something million US dollars?
I'll check it out.
I think it's like 7.5, 7.3. Quick maths. But still, I mean, we've sat here numerous times and said that White is far more deserving, has far more top 10 wins. Arguably probably a bigger commodity as well, right? Like, I feel like that, I don't know if that's much of an argument, Rob. I know you're looking up that's conversion rate.
6.5. So same. It's basically the same offer.
Hold on. Yo, Miller got the same offer as White? Really?
I wonder if it was more White saying, "You want me to fight? Everything else is falling apart. Give me that Dillian White offer," or something, along those lines.
You might be right about that, to be honest.
And then he said, "Your mum was so fat she cut her leg and gravy poured out," or something like that.
Like, we don't know which is the chicken, which is the egg, right? We don't know if the White negotiation fell apart and then the Miller fight came into play, or if both fights were simultaneously in play, or if the Miller fight was first, then the White fight didn't happen. I'm just curious. Again, we would never know, but that would be interesting because, again, on paper, from what's been told to us, they got the same offer. White sure got at least a few more million more than Miller, at least. I'm not upset at Dillian White not taking the fight and taking the money now. I'll be honest. Like, I wouldn't have taken it.
Yeah, all right.
What? I mean, if you're White and you can still go make $2 or $3 million fighting whoever, you know what I mean? Like, why would you go and fight AJ, the biggest fight out there, for the same amount that a guy that doesn't have a single top 10 win? You know what I mean? Like, it just makes zero sense. Plus, you are a pay-per-view commodity in the UK. You've been doing 300,000 or 400,000 pay-per-view buys, like, on point, like, consistently. So, nah, if you're White, you should be asking for $10 million plus. And maybe that's back-end money, not guarantee, right, similar to Miller. But he should be making more than $10 million for an AJ fight. Total gross revenue, over $10 million, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about when they said over 5 million, and then it was also going to be some of the, obviously it would have been Wembley Stadium UK pay-per-view, a prime time. So whether that also was going to include some pay-per-view money on top, I don't know. Like you say, we just don't know. But very quick on the speaking of the offers, Coogan said about, and obviously you're getting $38 million US. And AJ sort of went, shut up, and fall away. And then he went, oh, I don't want to talk about, the taxes. He was bringing up, like, the New York and stuff like that. So
it's a loophole, man.
I'm not saying Joshua confirmed that the 38, but he kind of was like, I don't know. But I'm just sort of saying that was brought up, whether in jest or whatever. But he didn't say, oh, come on, I'm not making 38.
I don't think DAZN is paying him $38 million, period. I think when you combine what DAZN is paying him with what Matchroom is paying him with what he's making in UK pay-per-view, you know what I mean? Like, when you combine all the revenue streams.
Yeah, tot it up.
Yeah, he's making a lot. Like, he's making, not Canelo money, but he's making close to that probably. Because Canelo's, again, making probably more than that guarantee pay from DAZN. Because he gets a cut of all those international distribution deals that we just don't know about. And plus, we know this, and I've said this before, maybe more on a Patreon show, but with Fugatti, that, hey, this is a tax loophole. Like, there's a reason why we have disclosed purses and then your total purse that we hear about later. Because of taxes. Like, I feel like that's obvious. It's not some big conspiracy, but that's just the way it is. Anybody that is a millionaire finds tax loopholes. There's a reason why Amazon and Netflix paid $0 in taxes this last year. Can you imagine that, Rob? Amazon and Netflix, those big fucking companies paying $0 in taxes.
Yeah.
AJ and Eddie and Wilder, they're all trying to do the same thing, man. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
No one wants to pay taxes, but very quick on Joshua Miller. Chris Mannix tweeted, minutes away from hosting a face-off between Anthony Joshua and Big Baby Miller for DAZN. And then he said, update, Miller sat for 10 minutes and stormed out. These guys really don't like each other. But then Eddie Hearn was live on Instagram. But Eddie Hearn on Instagram said he was live in the back of the limo or whatever off to the airport. But he said we did actually get 11 minutes worth of filming. But he said, I can't really tell you what happened, but it kicked off, and you guys will all see it soon. So obviously look out on DAZN and Matchroom's social media for whatever occurred. But are we going to get into the press conference a little bit, Matt? I know we did on
I mean, let's see what Sporting Icons wants to talk about. Sporting Icons, obviously joining us. Mr.
Hello.
Icons, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Another Wednesday, another day above ground's always a good day. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I feel a little disrespected that they allow water at press conferences, though. Unbelievable.
Yeah, man. You know, water, it's super damaging to clothes and cameras and stuff, man. It's almost like assault and battery. So, hey, shit happens, man.
Well, it is. And what makes it worse is when the owner, the promoter, turns a blind eye and pretends he didn't see it. Unbelievable.
How corrupt, right? How corrupt.
Oh, man.
Disgusts me. It really disgusts me, honestly.
Yeah. You know what? I haven't slept since last night, since I've seen it. I haven't slept. I'm disturbed.
Terrible scenes. Terrible scenes.
The fact that this isn't on mainstream media all over the place is a sign that boxing is corrupt and run by the mafia.
Well, with water being thrown around, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense now. It all falls into place.
It's a crime.
It is.
So, Sporting Icons, what are your thoughts on an apparent tremendous offer going into Deontay Wilder's team from Bob Arum and ESPN?
I think Wilder needs a promotional team. For him, he does so much promoting himself, and he really needs to be concentrating on training, on boxing, all that kind of thing, and let somebody else do that for him. And if ESPN are putting in a great offer for him, snap the hand off, or at least go talk to other promoters, see what they're going to offer, and take the best one.
But do you see the likes like the Al Haymans, the PBC side giving in the green light? I know he says he's a free agent and he can go where he wants, but do you see it happening on ESPN?
Yeah, why not? Why not? I mean, I think that with Shady Finkel, Bob Arum, these guys have a very good relationship anyway. So for me, I mean, Al Heyman, he's an advisor officially, isn't he? So he's still going to get his cut, I would presume.
Yeah.
It's not really a good look for PBC, Showtime, Fox. That's for sure. But ultimately, this is something that Wilder should have done a long time ago, I feel. And if the PBC aren't locking down their fighters, these things are going to happen. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, we know obviously Eddie's tried to coax some of PBC guys like the Charlos and Gerald Hurd and stuff like that, but they've obviously stayed true to Uncle Al, who's looked after them all this time, and the money hasn't been apparently what they were looking for regarding anything bigger or greater than what Al's been doing. But do you? My point was for Showtime and Fox and everything, and I guess Al Heyman, he's got commitments as far as putting big time fights on these networks. The recent deal they've signed. So that was my sort of query as to will that we actually see this fight on ESPN, because Showtime and Fox and the likes have got dates to fill. They've got commitments to these networks.
There's no real reason why they can't do a co-promotional deal anyway. I mean, they've done it before, haven't they? But ultimately, we know Bob Arum, Al Heyman don't seem to get along or don't talk at all. I'm not too sure, to be honest. But I just feel that Wilder needs to do what's best for him. And I feel that the PBC, while I love their idea where all their fighters can come and go and choose wherever you want to be, in other words, you're not locked down, okay? But they're relying on loyalty. And boxing is a cutthroat business. It's a very, very short career. You need to get as much money as you can. But loyalty will only take you so far. And I think that Wilder, he's had a pretty good run of it. And now he's at the very tail end of his career now. He's, 33 years old? I don't know how many fights he's got left. I know his hands keep needing surgery and everything. So maybe it's time to get that money. Because without Tyson Fury, without Joshua, where's he really going to earn a lot of money? You may as well go sign up with Bob Arum, ESPN, Matchroom Boxing, or Golden Boy, or whoever else it may be, and get a huge sign-on fee. even if he loses the next fight, even if it is against Tyson Fury, at least he's got a massive sign-on bonus.
Icons, what do you think about my idea? I don't know if it got on the show yesterday. I think we talked about this yesterday on the Patreon show, Rob, so that's why I don't know if people heard it. My sort of viewpoint, if I'm like one of Wilder's good friends, if I'm somebody that, he listens to, right, I would tell him to go to Fox or Showtime right now and ask for a deal like Fury, a deal like Canelo, a deal like Triple G, a deal like AJ, and ask for a 5-fight, 6-fight, 3-fight, whatever deal for $100 million plus, and get your own, quote, war chest, so to speak. And not necessarily go and get a deal from ESPN or DAZN specifically, or their respective promoters for those networks. Get your own sort of war chest with your own conglomerate, which is PBC, Showtime, and Fox. Do you think that would be smart? Do you think Wilder should get, like you said, a big deal, but get one with his own networks?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Why not? But I mean, if I was him or advising him, I would certainly speak to all the promoters, see what it is that they're offering, then take that to the PBC and say, look, this is what I'm being offered. What are you going to offer me? Because at the minute, I'm paying you to advise me who to fight, how much I should take. Well, I can really do that for myself. I need something. I need some kind of security. So, yeah, certainly. And if he was to do something, and if it was with the PBC, if it was with Top Rank or Matchroom, his name would blow up overnight. Because everyone's talking about Tyson Fury. It seems to me more people are interested in Tyson Fury signing this ESPN deal than what they were about Joshua Miller. So if Deontay Wilder did that, his name within the boxing world will blow up. But yeah, he should certainly, in my opinion, go chat with as many promoters as he can, see what it is that they're offering, go to PBC and say, this is what I'm being offered. Can you match it or do better?
I agree. I think that's smart. Hope Wilder's listening.
Well, I've said it, so if he is listening, he'll do the complete fucking opposite.
No, I just feel to some degree, obviously, Joshua's got this, it was £100 million Sky deal. I think it's fight by fight with DAZN or whatever. Obviously, Fury's now re-upped with BT and also got on top of, an ESPN sort of monster deal as well. And you just, I'm not saying Wilder's sort of some pauper on the outside looking in, but he's kind of out, lost in the weeds when he's been sort of going around. It was all looking good. He got this big pay-per-view with Fury, and everything was all looking good. The stardom and the A side was sort of coming out, and it was looking good. And then, to a lot of people, got a gifted draw, and it's all, and off the back of that, Fury's gone and made £80 million from ESPN, done enough to raise his sort of shine. And it's just a little bit that, as much as Wilder's always sort of like, we got a lot of good things, in the pipeline. We've got this, we got that. We hear it a lot, and I wonder if he feels a little kind of left behind. And yet he's the one with the green and gold belt, and yet everyone else seems to be sort of, shooting past and raising their game and getting this big money. But
you have to remember that he's very good friends with Adam Smith, the head of Sky Sports, as well. So even if he wants to stay with the PPC, he can still sign a deal for his UK-based fights.
Yeah. But it's going to be interesting how this all plays out. Another part of the heavyweight saga is, chapter whatever we're on now, and we just have to wait for more news as it unfolds. But
I think the thing is, though, Rob, is that there's so many fighters, they want to be managing themselves. It's almost like, well, I get punched in the head for a living. I don't want people thinking I'm stupid, so I want to manage myself. And while it works for some, Floyd Mayweather, for example, it doesn't work for everyone. So if there's a bucket load of money, you should at least explore it.
Yeah, why not? We've seen Dillian White go out and find out his options, put himself...
Prime example.
Yeah. Exactly. So, he's apparently gone out and he's found out, that money was real for the Joshua Wilder. He's gone out and got all this information, and, I know he's come back to Eddie and said, look, don't worry, I'm still here. It's all good. And apparently everything's fine. Maybe it isn't.
I said this to Dylan. I said this to Dylan. I said, I mean, if you're planning on staying on Sky, so he has like a rolling contract, like a rolling one fight contract. So his next fight will always be on Sky Sports. But if he's going to leave them, give them one fight's notice as such. So, and I've said to him that if you're planning on being there for like the next 2 or 3 years or X amount of fights, just get a sign-on fee and just get paid. I mean, it's free money because you're going to stay there anyway.
Yeah, if you're going to be fighting there, get the most for doing so. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think at some point Wilder. Not that I'm not in any way saying Shelley's done a bad job for him, or Lou, or Al, or JD's. I know he's another sort of manager / trainer, but when all these other guys are going out and making this huge money that are at the top end of the game, I don't know that whether he's looking and thinking, oh, why aren't I getting this? So
Shelley Finkel, you see, he's okay. So he's been managing like Mike Tyson and things like that in the past, and the Klitschko brothers, and we know how notoriously difficult the Klitschko brothers were for all fighters to negotiate with, and we're starting to see that with Wilder. Now he's at the top and the talking point.
Yeah.
So I do wonder that Shelley Finkel's going to make things difficult. I'm not saying he should get rid of Shelley Finkel, but what is it that he's really done for him?
Yeah, I just wonder if there's in Wilder's head whether there's like questions that I don't know that he.
Well, you'd be mad not to. Well, you'd be mad to not at least ask around. You'd be mad not to.
Sure. Especially off the back of saying I'm a free agent, I can do what I want, I can go where I want. So we'll go and find out. And if something's appealing, go and make that big money. It's like you said, especially near the end of his career, he's obviously still got this great knockout power. He's still gonna, I'd imagine, win. Obviously, Fury, we a lot of us believe was sort of robbed, or Wilder lost that fight, but he's still going to knock out a good percentage of other fighters that Wilder gets in the ring with. So there's money to be made, and his career, as like you said, as long as his hands hold out and injuries and whatever, then he's got some good fights ahead of him. And
well, Matt will know. I mean, like a Matt will know like a way better than what I do. But from the outside looking in, like I've never spoken to him or not knowing too much about him privately or behind the camera, it seems to me that with the money that he's got, he's content. He's not too worried about earning 100 million. It seems that 2, 3, 4, 5 million he's making per fight, that's enough for him.
He talks of generational wealth, though, doesn't he? I mean, I know that's still a whole bunch of money.
He has that already. Like,
yeah,
especially
he's invested wisely. He says how he's invested wisely. It's not just
And plus, you have to realize where he lives. Like Alabama and Atlanta, the two places he goes back and forth from, and he has houses in. Those are very cheap places to live in the U.S. Especially his Alabama house. Like the overhead costs to live there are, 1/20th the size of the overhead costs to live in like L.A. or New York, right? Like, so he does live by very low means in a way, just because of where he lives. The geography of the place. On top of that, to like Sporting Icon's point, do I think that he is content with the money he's made? Absolutely, but I also think he is savvy enough, or from what I have seen, smart enough to sort of understand his worth. And now that we're getting a lot of number figures attached to certain stars like Fury, like Canelo, soon to be Triple G, I think he has now an even better understanding of his worth. So hopefully him and JD's, who have a great relationship, and one I've seen up close more times than Shelley, just being honest, like they're going to have those conversations. Like, I do believe that Wilder is going to be shopped around in a sense, or network shop around, and see what he's worth and see what the networks think of him. Because that Tyson Fury deal, that was a huge sort of marker in the industry about who is worth what. Like, if you're Terrence Crawford right now, if you're fucking Danny Garcia, Earl Spence, all these guys, you should be feeling a certain way. All of you. Because they all do better numbers than Tyson Fury. Globally and in the U.S.
But if you're Al Heyman and is it Stephen Smith, is it? His right-hand man. If you're these guys, surely you could be looking at the landscape of all these huge deals coming through and potentially look at the winner of Errol Spence, Michael Garcia. the winner could actually leave them. There's nothing stopping them from leaving, so why not lock them down?
I agree. I think it's one of those weird things because the market is moving towards a more exclusive deals, more exclusive network deals, and very big network deals, right? That's seemingly where the market's moving. However, I think most fans, I think we can all sort of agree here that those are roadblocks to making the fights we want. You know, if everyone was a free agent and everyone was making what they're worth, regardless of just being a network free agent, then I think this isn't an issue. But because half of the industry is now predominantly exclusively tied to certain networks or promoters, the other half of the industry now has to move a certain way because of that. And there's going to be a cause and effect because of that dynamic. Again, if you're anyone out there, like you said, Spence Garcia, that's a great example. Especially, like, I don't think it happens, but if you're a Mikey Garcia who is, like, really a free agent network-wise and managerial, promotional-wise, and you beat Errol Spence, God, I think everyone would want him. Like, he is one of the biggest commodities now in the U.S. landscape going forward. Bob's going to want that Pacquiao fight from Mikey. Like, everyone's going to want Mikey in their stable. So it's going to be interesting to see how Heyman and PBC move going forward because it is antithetical to how they run their operation. Like you've said this, Sport Icons, like they have a sort of like a free agency policy without really having a on paper policy about that. You know, Daniel Jacobs can go to the zone and Eddie Hearn, and there's no issue with that. Certain fighters can go and fight Terrence Crawford and fight certain people in different networks. Look at Rich Akome. He's moving over to ESPN. Edelir Alvarez, you know, like fighters can move with PBC. Hopefully, like I said earlier, they ignore the fact that Wilder is their biggest commodity, and therefore they're not too concerned about keeping him on their networks, and they let him go fight Fury on ESPN because that's probably the easiest and quickest thing to do to expedite this entire issue. Is just to go have Wilder get a 2-fight deal on ESPN, and that be the end of it. But
well, what would happen though? What do you believe would happen in your opinion? So let's just say Wilder Fury happens, and because it's ordered by the WBC, there doesn't have to be a rematch from Tyson Fury's side. Let's just say he beats Wilder. How would Wilder feel knowing that he could have taken this huge money for X amount of fights, and now he's just lost? Because we know historically, well, not always, of course, but when a fighter loses, then they're pretty much cast aside for a while.
I mean, historically, I wouldn't say that word. I would say in recent history, like in the last 20 years, that is much more of an issue. But I would also say that has recently changed. Like Manny Pacquiao, for example. Like, you know, I remember, you know, the days after that Marquez knockout, everyone was sort of thinking, oh, this was it for Pacquiao. Look where we are now. You know, like it's now, what, 5, 6, 7 years later since that fight probably. And he's still getting big mega fights, still being a huge draw and commodity. You know, you go down the list, most of the stars in boxing history have had losses, have done big numbers post those losses, right? Like Sugar Ray Leonard, Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, they all had early career losses, and their biggest fights were after that. You know what I mean? So I think we as a community, both media, fans, like we need to stop really worrying about that loss. Because I think Wilder, AJ, Fury, they can all take losses. And guess what? They can all still fight each other 3 times apiece. And all those fights are going to be big and massive. Like, do we think that Wilder, Fury, or AJ could lose and then not rebound? Like, I don't think that. I think any of those guys could lose potentially, and we still see them as a force in the division, a soon-to-be champion again. Like, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility or reality. That Wilder could lose to Fury and still be a massive commodity to U.S. networks. His stock might drop a bit, absolutely, but he's still going to be a massive commodity. He's still going to pull in numbers. Look at Adrian Broner, for God's sake. That guy's been taking losses after losses after losses. Guess what? He is still one of the 5 biggest draws in U.S. boxing still. So,
because he's got the fan base.
Because he has a fan base. Wilder has a fan base. He does.
Yeah, he does. But, I mean, I don't know if that fan base are old guard loyal. I don't know. Or that it's with him for the now. But ultimately, if he loses, we'll find out, as with all fighters. But I feel that with AJ, if he would take a loss, his stock would drop, but it wouldn't take too much to build back up again. With Wilder, I'm not too sure.
I think, well, look at his last fight. Most people thought he lost that fight. You know, like in the public's mind, he lost already. He already has an L on his record in the public's mind. You know, I don't think it has as much of an effect as maybe you or others. I just don't. I think all these guys can rebound rather quickly at the top. I had a good example in my head, UK example, George Groves. I mean, think about, like, again, transport yourself back to the night after Carl Froch beat him in that rematch and he got knocked out. I don't think any of us were thinking he was going to go on to be a commodity in the division still be a major piece at 168, post Carl Froch and Andre Ward. And on top of that, have a passing of the torch moment with Callum Smith. Like, you know, people can have losses and still be successful, still be top elite level names. You know, losses don't end careers. You know, I've always had that mentality.
True. Good point.
Anything else you want to discuss, Sporting Icons?
Joshua Miller press conference, anything?
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I don't understand people who say it was staged. I don't understand. For me, it wasn't staged. I think Miller is... I think he's nervous, to be honest, but I think he's in fighting mode now. He just wants to fight. He wants this opportunity. He wants to get paid, damn it, you know? And him pushing Joshua, that didn't surprise me. It surprised me how Joshua bit back, though.
I loved it. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I loved it so much.
It was nice to see that side of him, wasn't it?
And plus, I think we've always known that was there. You know, like we've always known AJ can sort of give it back. You know, like AJ's witty, like he's charismatic. You give him a mic and you give him the right foil, the right heel to his sort of, you know, Mr. Golden Boy. He's gonna talk some shit too. So I loved it, man. When he came out off the rip and said, like we talked earlier, like he started clapping and said, "Oh, what a great story from Miller. I almost cried. You know, what a great actor. You know." And then you went straight into like, "Where's your mom?" Blew her a kiss. You know, like. That he was on point. AJ was he was holding court. You know, AJ was holding court yesterday, and that was cool to see.
That goes down well with Americans, doesn't it? Because Americans love trash talk.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a few people, and I've seen a few tweets from people I didn't expect, and heard a few people that I got a little bit more respect for Joshua now. You know, I like what I heard, and some are saying that's what we wanted, that's what we've been waiting for. You know, so. It's slowly but surely maybe winning over some Americans now. So it's good. And to me, if anything, the act is maybe not act, but the media-trained, humble, golden boy sort of approach is probably more of an act than people think that AJ trying to be a shit talker was an act. You know, I think
absolutely
the natural, like if Josh was, you know, goofing around with his friends or whatever, he's going to be like, you know, it's a very British thing, or maybe it's sort of worldwide. But when you're with your mates, it's like, well, all right, dickhead, how you doing? But when it's your enemies, it's like, listen, mate, listen, my friend. It's like, well, hang on, it's all backwards. But so I think this
is. I mean, who's never made a mum joke, you know? Who's never made a mum joke? But I think with AJ, I think because of being here in the UK, because Sky Sports, if you say shit and you know, you got Adam Smith, oh, sorry about that, apologies, everything's oh, sorry, you know, worry about offending. But I've noticed with especially like whenever Luda Bella's on stage, you know, he's the promoter, for God's sake, he's up there, fuck this, fuck that. I'm like, damn, Americans love this. So maybe Joshua feels more like he can be himself while he's in America, whereas on Sky Sports on Monday, I think he's going to be a bit more PC.
There's nothing. Yeah, you're possibly right. I think there's nothing more frustrating than a post-fight interview in the UK, and it's like it's like, oh, I don't give a shit, and it's like, oh, apologies there for the use of language, and like, come on, you could flick it over to Showtime, and then you got Adrian Broner, you know, motherfucker, this motherfucker, every other word, and you're like, yeah, this is better.
Premium cable, because like Fox. You're going to have that. You're going to have them bleeping it out. Like ESPN, same thing. But like Showtime, HBO, man, they play porn late at night. So you can get any.
I need to get that shit.
Oh, you never heard of like Skinamax? That was always the joke back in the day. Like Cinemax had like the nudies after like 10 p.m., 11 p.m.
Is HBO still in the porn game?
I don't know if there still are because I don't even have HBO subscription right now. Cause I'm waiting until Game of Thrones comes back. I'm not paying for that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse the pun, but that's almost a toss-up. Oh, they've stopped boxing, but the porn. I don't know. Should have cancelled. Should have cancelled.
But hold on, it's like the bad like softcore porn. It's not like it's that with like the fake stories and it's like has like actual like seasons. I don't want that. Anyways, digressing. Back to AJ Miller press conference. I was thoroughly entertained. Like I thought, again, AJ was holding court. I love that we saw not only AJ be comfortable in the shit talk, but enjoy it. You know, like he wasn't like frustrated. He never got upset. He was always enjoying himself during the shit talk. I think that translates well. On top of that, let's be honest. I mean, him telling Eddie, no, let's keep going 5 times. I loved seeing that.
That was his way of showing the American audience, because I know that a lot of the Wilder fanatics, you would call them, say that Eddie is his boss. That's his way of showing the American public, no, I'm the boss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely a large segment that say Eddie is Joshua's mouthpiece. You know, he talks for Joshua. So for Joshua to say, no, I'm good. I haven't got to be anywhere. Eddie, it's fine. We haven't got to be anywhere. You know, it's cool. You know, we can keep taking questions. And I think there was even a question about the 50 million, and Eddie jumped in, and then Joshua was like, "No, Eddie, it's all right. Let him finish. And then Joshua addressed it. So, you know, I enjoyed that as well, because I've been sort of saying, look, Joshua, yeah, maybe. Do you want to say protected, but doesn't do a whole bunch of interviews. Used to be quite regular on IFL. Now that's sort of thinned out to literally like maybe fight weeks and stuff like that, or when he's got a fight. But, you know, I knew Joshua could, you know, sort of hold it down himself and whatever. It's just, I guess he's a busier guy these days and hasn't got so much time to devote to doing a bunch of interviews. And that's just, you know, when you're that, I guess, bigger star. This kind, I mean, how many interviews do you see Canelo doing? Or, you know, all over YouTube, and do you know what I mean? It's kind of fight week. It is what it is. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Like you say, to see that side of AJ. You know, I'm paying your mum's rent now. You know, I'm your landlord. You bow to me, and all that. You know, it was great. It was great. And I think if you want to score it, you know, like all throughout the Fury and Wilder, who won? I mean,
come on, 10-9 AJ. 10-9 AJ, easy.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you want to do it, I think at the end of the day, Big Baby got up and left. I'm not saying he quit on his stool, you know, AJ bodied me, you know, and I'm not saying that, but
what was the dude's name that left the F.A. Agabi fight like before it started? Remember, like they rang the bell and
Curtis Harper, was it? Yeah. But you know, obviously Big Baby got the shove off, and that was like, oh yeah, here we go. But the fact Joshua walked back to the center of the stage and said, come and stand in front of me. Stand in front of me. And then he told him to take his glasses off. Take your glasses off and look me in the eye like a man. Big Baby took his glasses off and looked at him. So, you know, AJ sort of regained. I think Big Baby had some momentum early on, and AJ clawed it all back. And in the end, Big Baby left the arena, and AJ stood there with, you know, considering no one knows him in America, all the press were there asking him a whole bunch of questions. No one asked Big Baby a question for like 10, 11 questions into the extra 20 minutes that they done. So, you know, I think it's like you say, Matt, a 10-9.
Oh, easy.
But,
easy 10.
Yeah. But like Icon said, when it's over here, things might be a little different. He might have to keep a little bit of a lid on it a little bit more, because we won't hear any of it if it's all swearing.
I think there's like two sides of it. I mean, Miller has to remember Joshua is paying his rent for this one, you know. You know, it's a voluntary. He's given him a huge opportunity. And I like Miller. But the fact is, if he did put his hands on him, then he's losing that 6.5 to 7 million, whatever it is he's getting.
Well, they know that. I mean, that's why, like, whenever, like, Miller is, like, saying, like, tell me I wouldn't come over there. Like, say that. Tell me I wouldn't come over there. I'll do it right now. I'll show you. You think Eddie's going to stop me? That's just that's banter, right? Because Miller is smart enough to know, hey, like, you know, this is a big money, you know, this is a big paycheck, a big fight. Like, why would I screw it up months in advance by attacking AJ? A push here or there, fine. I know I can get away with that. Like, Miller's savvy enough. And plus, I will say this: the Sky feed didn't have this, but the DAZN one did. So the mics were hot for quite some time before the stream started, and it was just the DAZN logo, but the mics were hot for Ak and Barack. And Miller was coming around talking, like they were having a good time. And when it was showtime, boom, that character went into place. That persona came out. So I think Miller is completely self-aware of the moment, and he just knows the right things to say. He's a showman. Like Tyson Fury, another sort of guy that says outlandish, crazy things, but I truly believe he doesn't believe 90% of it. He's just saying stuff to say stuff.
Well, one way I look at it, though, if them two did kick off, I think outside the ring, there's only going to be one winner, and I think that's Miller. I mean, I don't think that, I mean, I'm sure Joshua can brawl, but we know Miller can definitely brawl outside the ring. You know?
Yo, Icons, man. You said that out loud on a live show, man. All your fans are going to be thinking, whoa, Icons, you picked Miller in a street fight over AJ?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, he's got like an MMA and kickboxing background, doesn't he?
That is true. He does have a kickboxing MMA background. You are true.
And also, if we're talking getting into some kind of a brawl in the actual fight, remember when Joshua went in full of emotion against Dillian White? I mean, he got a bit wobbly until he got back behind his boxing. And look, for me, Big Baby's going to be there to hit all night long. He's ginormous in size. He's a target you can't miss. And I don't think we're going to see particularly great head movement or footwork, particularly. He's just going to keep walking forward, and I can see him just walking onto something pretty big. And
well, it's strange though, isn't it? Because like just to continue with like what you're saying there, I think it's the first time I've ever seen AJ disrespect an opponent, in the sense of you're trash, you hit like a fairy. Basically, I'm I'm here for a payday, and I'm using you for it for Madison Square Garden, but you're easy work.
Yeah.
He's never said anything like that before.
No, he's usually, respect. He stood up to the plate. I'll respect anyone that does this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I think the minute that shit happened at the DAZN, the first time round when they had that little square off and AJ's mum was brought up the first time, I think Joshua made his mind up then that this guy's a clown and he ain't no great shakes, but we'll meet one day, and then that'll be my opportunity to tell everyone what I think of him. But
it does make me wish that it was Miller versus White. I mean, my God, that press would be awesome.
That fight will happen. Don't worry. That'll happen in a couple of years.
Do you want to know a fight that isn't happening?
What?
Joseph Parker versus Jarrell Miller is not happening on April the 20th at the O2. According to David Higgins, Parker's promoter has blasted Chisora's side as cowardly and claimed they have tried to deliberately stall the deal so his man wouldn't have a full camp.
So my theory about the Joseph Parker Chisora fight not happening, and now we're gonna get Tyson Fury versus Joseph Parker on ESPN, might come true. Hey, Rob can get right on his whole, like, the Fury Wilder fight's not happening. We can get Wilder Brazil next, and I might be right about the whole Fury Parker fight. I'm just saying, MCR is like 2 for 3 right now on predictions with this whole bullshit. Okay. I like that fight to begin with, so if it doesn't happen, kind of upset. But if we get a Joseph Parker Tyson Fury fight, I'm not mad about it. I'll be honest. I'll put up with it.
It's not surprising, though, is it? Anything with David Haye is notoriously difficult.
Yeah,
it really is.
But also anything with David Higgins seems to be
both Davids. Both Davids are difficult.
Yeah, that's true. Although, to be honest, unless Usyk versus Povetkin is actually locked in, I wouldn't mind seeing Parker versus Povetkin.
I like that fight. Both guys coming off. No, Parker's coming off a win.
Yeah,
I like that fight. No, I like that fight. I think we don't get it, though. I think we get Usyk, Povetkin, we get Fury, Parker, we get White is probably in no man's land, and White may end up fighting like Luis Ortiz because he has to. And we get Wilder Brazil. I think Rob's going to end up being right.
Well, Parker called out Brazil, didn't he, about a week or two ago?
Did he? I don't remember that.
Yeah, he did. So, but there again, Ortiz, he's got a fight with Hammer, hasn't he? So.
Christian Hammer, and interestingly, I think forgive me, which radio show in America it was on, but AJ lined up that if after dealing with Miller, if he can't get Wilder or Fury, he seems to keep zeroing in on he wants to fight Luis Ortiz next. So,
and plus with DAZN wanting AJ more in America, a Luis Ortiz fight after Miller in the New York area again would make complete sense. So that does track with what it seems like DAZN's plans for AJ.
Yeah, it's going to be a shame because obviously DAZN are wanting AJ to do his thing in America, while Fury's basically said, I want my future in America. So I don't know that we're going to see Tyson Fury in the UK. So
do you think that AJ may do an Amir Khan and just like leave UK? I mean, if he becomes popular and his stock is growing, do you think that maybe he may go with that one, knowing he's always got the UK to fall back on?
Yep.
And just give us the odd treat once in a while?
Yep.
I think, yeah, we'll get some breadcrumbs. We'll get certain fights, come back and fill Wembley up again at certain points and go make that big money over in, that bigger money over in the UK, in America, because he's already making big money, obviously, here. But,
if he's doubling it in America, it sounds, doesn't it?
It seems like most.
Fury said it to Max Kellerman. He said, "Look, any singer, any band, any performer, any, if you want to say you've made it, you've got to go and crack America." It's like
from the Beatles to Ricky Hatton. I mean, every UK star known to man has sort of made that trek across the Atlantic to become a star over here.
Yeah, we sent you the Beatles and you killed John Lennon. Thanks very much.
Hey, whoa, that was not me.
Well, I didn't mean you exactly. You represent America right now.
Okay, my bad. Sorry, our mistake.
That's true though, because it seems that once fighters do well here, they'll go to America, and then they'll stay in America until they start getting a losing streak. Then they'll come back home with like a tail between their legs.
Yep, James
That
Zagale,
seems to be the thing.
James Zagale, Chris Eubank, all of them have sort of made the trek or tried to make the trek over. Carl Frampton. I think Lee Selby attempted to at one point. I think he was thinking about making a U.S. debut or something. Most UK fighters and UK just celebrities, entertainers, whatever sort of word you want to use, whatever noun, they all sort of make the trek over to the U.S. And that goes like worldwide. Like U.S. is still predominantly the creator of entertainment worldwide. Like, China, I think, is obviously making a huge gain. What, Rob?
He didn't invent entertainment.
I didn't say invent. Did I say
created entertainment?
Right now, today, most of the entertainment that is created right now comes from the U.S., I would say. Obviously, we have transport. We take a lot of like UK actors, and we send actors to like UK schools for acting, but most of the content comes from like U.S. studios, U.S. networks. Like, think about like the statistic, like 30 companies control like 99% of like the world's companies and capital, like Disney, Comcast. So you go all throughout these American companies, they all create the entertainment of the world in a way.
That is true. I mean, they hire good actors from Britain to go over there to play Americans. It's weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like like Hugh Laurie.
Americans play Americans. It's easier.
I remember the first time I heard like Hugh Laurie in an interview. The guy that's from House, right? The show, and I found out he was. I think he's Welsh. I think he's Welsh. When I found that out, I was just blown away, and I was like really young when that happened, and I was like, oh my god, all these actors are not from the U.S.
Yeah.
It really blew my mind, that fact that you guys can do U.S. accents like that. Pisses me off.
Give us your English accent and come on, show us your acting skills.
I'm not. No.
Americans doing English is poor, don't know.
It's super trash.
Do you want some tea?
Oh, blimey, governor.
Do you want some tea?
We say very stereotypical like phrases from like the 1800s. That is America's go-to UK accents.
And say it like someone from the 1800s as well. Do you want a cup of tea? Oh my god.
Icons, anything else you want to talk about?
Can't really think what else is going on. James Zagale, Chris Eubank Jr. this weekend. I seen Bermane Stiverne was kicking off a bit with Joe Joyce's manager.
Yeah. That that was the audio was terrible. You couldn't really.
Yeah.
From what I can't remember where I saw it, but yeah, but mate Stavern getting all riled up. I thought, sit back down, Jesus.
In some ways, it wouldn't surprise me if Stavern chins him. To be honest, because I don't know, Joe Joyce. He seems to have this lot of hype because of what he's done as an amateur, but he's as slow as a slug, man, and he's there to be hit. And Bermane Stavern, while a lot of people will look on him as a guy who potentially lost to Derek Rossi before getting blasted by Wilder, the boy can bang. He can hit real hard.
Yeah, he hits hard.
I agree.
He hit the floor hard, didn't he?
He's in a limbo in the bottom row. Yeah.
But speaking of, I've just got to find it very quick. This blew me away. You know how we brought up Oliver McCall?
No, why you keep messing with that guy's name, man? That poor guy.
Do you want to know who's got a scheduled fight for the 22nd of February this year?
Who?
Frank Bruno?
Samuel Peter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So sad.
His opponent. His opponent. It has a record of 2 wins, 21 losses, no draws.
Anyways, anything else to talk about other than poor Samuel Peter still trying to make a check?
We haven't touched on Lomachenko Crolla.
Yes, let's talk about that right now. Lomachenko Crolla is set for April 12th in Los Angeles to avoid the purse bid, all that stuff. My only really point about this, because, again, we sort of knew this fight was happening. I think when Comey said that he couldn't make the fight, everyone said the Crolla fight's going to happen. That fight's going to be made. Like, there's no real roadblocks to that. I will say, though, I'm upset that this fight is not in the UK, especially when this fight is going to be on ESPN+. It's not going to be on ESPN, so you're not constrained by TV schedules and their sort of system. You're not. You're now a streaming show and a streaming event. You can run at any time. You can run at 5 p.m. Eastern time and 2 p.m. Pacific time for the main event. Do that, but put the fight in the UK. Like, you're going to draw more of a crowd. You can probably get a bigger gate. Like, it just makes zero sense. Same with the whole Usyk Povetkin landing in Chicago. Like, the fact that fight's not in Germany or Eastern Europe is just it's sad. Like, the natural fan bases to these fighters don't get to see this fight. Like, everyone that is excited for the Lomachenko Crolla fight are UK fans because it's their guy getting that shot, which I'm not going to hate on. Like, I go for it. Like, support your guy. But the fact that they don't get this fight in the UK, they don't get Loma coming over here, over there, and having that effect, I think it sucks. Like, it's a missed opportunity, perhaps, in my mind. Rob, any thoughts on Loma Crolla being set for April 12th in Los Angeles? Again, your thoughts?
Yeah, disappointed it's not over here, but no, it is what it is. The deal's been made before.
I can hear the heartbrokenness in you right now, Rob. You were so excited to get Loma in the UK.
It's not so much that. It's just complete.
You need a hug?
No, I'm good. The amount of shit that Crolla or this fight has attracted, like, what has Crolla done to deserve this shot?
I don't think. Again, I think people get too caught up in the weeds about this when it comes to, like, oh, you're giving Crolla shit. No, like, Crolla's not really getting shit here. Just, like, this matchup is really easy to call. And I think it's, when you're looking at a generational talent like Loma, who is dead set on trying to achieve greatness, fights that don't achieve that goal, like, it just feels like it's not needed in that sense. Now, obviously, he's a mandatory. Like, obviously, the parameters of the sport mean we have to have this fight. And no fault to Crolla, no fault to Lomachenko, no fault to the promoters. It's just the way it is in this sport. And let's be honest, like, Crolla is a far better mandatory than Carlos Ocampo. Yet I didn't see nearly as many media people shit on that fight. I will say that. I will give you that point, Rob. But you can also say, like, hey, like, this fight is sort of a not shit fight, but it's such an easy fight to call, such a stylistic, one-sided fight that we don't need, but we're getting, unfortunately. But you can also say shout out to Crolla for having this opportunity. Like, he's going to make money. He's going to be, it's an opportunity. But it's still an opportunity that I think most of the consumers and fans can all agree on we don't need, perhaps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I get you,
the two could coexist. I get how some people have been venomous towards this fight, and Crolla in particular, but I think if you sort of separate from those individual people and their points, which are kind of poorly worded and just put out, like you can have the same opinion or two different opinions of, hey, this fight is not a great fight, but that's no shade to Crolla and Lomachenko. Like, this fight has to get made. It's a mandatory. Shit happens.
Yeah, I've just seen so much, like, basically Crolla's going to die in the ring and stuff. Like Loma's this world famous hospitalizer and stuff, and you got like certain writers saying Lomachenko facing a no-hoper, and
that's kind of true. That point's kind of true.
It's not a no-hoper, is he? He's a former world champion. I don't know what a no-hoper necessarily means.
Do you see any realistic path to victory for Crolla?
No, I get that he's more than likely not going to win it, but to call him a no-hoper.
But it's not more than likely. I don't think that's the issue.
Going into this fight with some hope, isn't he? What's the point of training? Why has he even built himself back up to a mandatory position?
Rob, I think you're getting too defensive about Crolla here. Look,
yeah, of course I am.
I understand. Relax here. Relax. Hey, I'm your co-host. Relax, man. I'm not Keith Idek here, where you and Fu are out there tweeting at him, being all angry. Okay.
I just think it's not professional.
You can say that. You can have that opinion, but it's also not necessarily untrue. Like, Crolla doesn't have a path of victory. He doesn't.
He could write the heavy underdog. No hopers, like basically saying he's a bum.
No, well, in this matchup, I'm not saying he's a bum, but he is a no-hoper. Like, he doesn't have a path of victory here. Unlike, let's say, a Kome, who is still a massive underdog against Lomachenko, right? But he has some paths of victory. He has some skill. He has some tools to use. Not skill. Tools to use that could be optimal against a guy like Lomachenko. Crolla doesn't really have that. So, yeah, you may think it's unprofessional to say he's a no-hoper, but it's also not untrue. It's just a different perspective.
I just think when you're a writer, you're supposed to be like literally, I don't know, a wordsmith, perhaps, maybe things like that, and just to write no-hoper.
It's Twitter, Rob. Like, you have 140 characters, and you're asking people to be wordsmiths on Twitter? Come on.
Underdog.
Come on, Rob.
Like one extra character, underdog. But very quick, you mentioned Richard Kome, who put, people need to lay off Anthony Crolla. He deserves his chance to face Vasiliy Lomachenko. He worked his way to the mandatory position just like I had to. So he has earned it, and I wish him all the best. So
he has. He absolutely has. And again, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at here, Rob. Like, Crolla has earned this. He has. But so did Carlos Ocampo. And again, those guys aren't the same mandatories. One is better, but realistically, I mean, those are mandatories that are in positions not to win. Not because they haven't earned that position, but because they're not talented enough to go over that opportunity to actually beat Loma or beat Spence, whoever that. And again, you can use any mandatory for this sort of example here that we all agree won't win the fight. And there's been a lot of them that have earned that opportunity, but yet we can all agree they don't have a hope to win this fight. And that, unfortunately, just is the case. We talked about this before about how sanctioning bodies run their rankings. Like, that is a fault of the rankings, is the fact that we can get mandatories or number one ranked guys that either don't have really the skill to be at that level, shouldn't belong at the level, and then get the opportunity to fight somebody that they have not really earned that shot with. And again, I'm not saying Crolla hasn't earned his shot, but we can all sit here, I think, and agree that he does not have a path of victory for Lomachenko. So using the term no-hoper is not incorrect. It may be harsh, it may be quote, unprofessional, but it's not untrue.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not picking Crolla in this fight. I'm not saying, but he's got a chance. You might want to say, Lomachenko now's had over 400 amateur fights. He's now 30, whatever he is. He's coming off a surgery. he might not be the same guy. But Crolla's going to get behind a high guard. He's going to tuck his head in, and he's going to come forward and try and work and pop out of the guard. Is it going to be enough? I don't think so. Is Lomachenko going to massively outskill him in virtually every department? Yeah, but I just didn't like the wording, and I just feel...
Well, you don't like it because it's Crolla. You don't like it because it's a UK guy that... No, hold on. You like Crolla. I know you do. You like his story, and I like his story. He's a UK guy, and you've always said that you go to bat for UK guys. So if this was anyone else that wasn't a UK fighter that was in this position, I don't think you would have as strong of an opinion and emotional response to a single reporter saying he's a no-hoper. I don't think you would have this emotional response. Am I wrong about that?
Maybe not quite so strongly about it, but I still don't like it when I see people that are actually... He writes for Boxing Scene, one of the most visited sites for boxing there is, and he's just there saying against a no-hoper. Yeah. And then about Linares said like, what did he say? Like a chinny.
Rob, a lot of people don't have not good opinion. That's probably the wrong way. A lot of people don't have favorable opinions about Linares. A lot of reporters do. A lot of people in the media. And look, we have opinions about fighters from time to time. We call them trash. We've called fighters bums. We have.
I'm not writing an article that I'm...
No, but you got a platform and a mic. You got over 1,000 listeners on average every time you talk.
No, I get you. But no, nothing's going to get written up about what I've got to say. But
nothing's going to get written up about what Keith Idek says. Are you going to write an article about it?
No, but lots of people will do shows about it. Lots of people talk about his articles. Everyone reads his articles.
Oh, you mean generally speaking, not about him saying no hoper.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think like people are going to write articles about him saying no hoper. I'm like, no one's going to care about that.
No, they're not.
No, I understand your point, but look, Keith Idek's allowed to his opinions. Like, let's not.
It is.
And again, this is not to you, Rob. This is more to everyone else listening, because people think that we can't be subjective about points. Like, you can't be subjective. I can't be subjective. We can't have biases. No, we can have biases. Like, Rob is completely able to have a UK bias. I'm just merely pointing that out. Right? That's all I'm doing. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's a negative thing to have. It's just good to always point out your innate biases. I have them. Rob has them. Sporting Icons has them. We all have biases. So, of course, Keith Idek has his own biases about Linares or Crolla or this matchup. I think you should be allowed to voice those opinions, regardless of him having a bigger microphone than me and you. Metaphorical one, of course, because he doesn't really do podcasting. But, yeah, I mean, I think we get too hung up on like the idea of reporters being ultra professional and objective. And I think that is used as an excuse for the audience to try to shoehorn media people, media members, into a box that they're comfortable with. If a reporter is saying something that you are not comfortable with, there's some value in that. You know, and again, I'm not speaking to you anymore. I'm speaking more generally speaking to the listeners. Like, if you hear a reporter say something that you don't like that initially makes you upset, there's a reason why you're upset. It's because of your innate biases. Reflect on that. And it's okay to reflect on those biases and say, it's okay to have these biases. For me, I have a bias towards very small fighters, for example, because I'm a very small person. I'm 130 pounds. So people that are 130 pounds or lower, I love watching fight. I will bat for them 9 out of 10 times, 10 out of 10 times. That's why Carl Frampton's one of my favorite fighters, because the guy's just a small dude that can scrap.
Yeah, you've turned on him, though.
Hey, because he's been losing. He's been losing, and I got to get picks right, okay?
For the winning team, right?
But again, like, sort of to make it more macro and not on so much this topic of Loma Crolla, because it's a fight. Like, it's going to happen. It's a mandatory. Is it better than other mandatories? Absolutely. Is it worse than other mandatories? Absolutely. Is it a fight that's pretty easy to call? Absolutely. So there's not much that we should be debating here and getting defensive about, because I think regardless, we're all really the same mind and opinion. You know, we might disagree on how to state that opinion, but we all pretty much have the same one.
No, yeah, I get it. Just want to say, Crolla's obviously taken everything in his stride anyway, but he said a bit gutted that Sonny, who's got a supercar as his profile picture, isn't going to bother staying up till the early hours to watch it live, but you can't win them all.
You know, that's true.
He's coming out with his own responses, you know. quite a lot of fighters. I see that. Why don't you take your 3 followers and go fuck yourself?
And again, like I think people sort of conflate the two arguments, right, all the time. Like I can say this fight's not good, and that also not be an indictment on Crolla as a fighter and a person. I can still think Crolla is one of the better guys in the sport, really fun fighter, but I can still say this fight's really one-sided. And yeah, he and other fighters are naturally going to be upset by that. But we all know fighters probably the most emotional bunch in the community, more than fans.
Yeah, possibly. But no, I think just people see this as Lomachenko, a lot of people's pound for pound #1 fighter in the world, and Anthony Crolla, you know, some guy from Manchester, England, when he lost to Linares twice, you know, went 24 rounds with Linares, and probably a lot of people have just sort of caught up with the fact that Linares has been knocked out recently in a round, and it's like, well, what a shit fight, and I don't know.
Well, also, like, you know, total off topic, but like Linares, right? Like we were talking about this a little bit off air in the chat with Fu, because, you know, Fu is a big Lomachenko fan, right? So when anyone starts discrediting some of Lomachenko's wins, Fu gets very upset, right? He's worse than you when it comes to UK fighters. So much worse.
He went to bat.
Oh my God, poor guy. And anyways, like you look at Linares' career in hindsight, it's not the greatest career. Like, and I've also said this, like I said this to Fu, like, because he sort of said, like, well, that's hindsight. Look, I know that we often say in this world, like, oh, well, you put yourself back in the context of the fight and, you know, what had happened, blah, blah. But look, when you have more information, when you have more details that you can better contextualize something in the past, why would you not do that? Like, hindsight is a valuable thing. Like, it's not something to just push away, like, oh, we can ignore that just because we're smarter today. Let's pretend like we're dumber. And we were back in 2 years ago and we thought Rigo really had a shot with Loma. No, we can look with hindsight and say Rigo was 10 pounds smaller than Lomachenko, had awful footwork. We should have never thought that fight was going to be competitive in any fashion. We can use hindsight to say that. Same to Linares. We can say, hey, look, Linares, hindsight, his lightweight run kind of filled with easy fights, kind of filled with fights that he really struggled in, like the Luke Campbell fight, for example. You know, I just think that hindsight can be used here. And for Linares' career, there's some value to using hindsight and going, hey, maybe Linares wasn't the greatest thing in the world. That's okay, guys.
So you feel justified in jumping off the Linares hype train?
Yes,
that you were on?
Yes, I do. Abso-fucking-lutely. Even though I was one of the biggest Linares supporters, I can absolutely use hindsight now and go, hey, I was dead wrong. I was smoking too much good shit, you know.
If you do it that way, that's fine. It's when you go, I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, well, come on, Rob.
Come on. In hindsight, you're saying that. And that's when it's wrong.
Hey, Rob, let's be honest here. I say I'm wrong a lot on this show.
Yeah, I mean, because everything points in the right direction, and then, like, I don't know, Fury signs for ESPN. So
Fury,
we're wrong.
God damn it. I was so close to being right, and you were wrong. God damn it. Anyways, Icons, I want to get your thoughts about Lomachenko, Crolla, it being in the U.S., not being in the U.K., and in the fight overall.
Okay, so Lomachenko versus $1 Million Crolla. First of all, if Crolla had not accepted this fight, I would go in on him because that would have been a stupid move. So he should definitely take the opportunity. As for the fight being here in the UK, yeah, I'm disappointed because I would love to have seen Lomachenko in the UK, but at the same time, I'm happy because, you know, fine, well, Eddie would have put that damn thing on pay-per-view. So there is that one. Now, of course, when I did my thoughts on this fight earlier on, I pretty much said that Lomachenko is going to pull down his pants and smack his bare ass is pretty much what's going to happen. And since then, you know, Eddie Hearn sent me a text message. He's withdrawn all my monthly funding.
Don't you hate when that happens? I hate when that happens, man.
Oh, no, tell me about it. I mean, 10 grand a month, just lost, gone, just like that. So now I'm going to try and claw it back and say, well, you know, Crolla, he's wanted this fight for 2 years. He is a former world champion. And yes, Lomachenko, pound for pound #1. He's only had 12, 13 fights, but he has lost one of them. It's boxing. Bigger shots could have happened.
Yeah, I mean, bigger upsets have happened, but this would be a pretty big one. This would be up there. You know.
Wow.
Please, Eddie, give me my funding back.
Please, Eddie, give for the sake of time, we will cut out the other topics we were going to discuss and save them for the next show. We're going to go to the 816 and go to callers right now. So anyone that wants to call in, 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. If you're international, add Mixed Combat Radio on Skype and call in via Skype. Icons, if you want, you can stay on, of course. If you don't, you can jump. If you do want to jump, let the people know where they can find you, all that fun stuff.
I'm hanging around wherever there's controversy, you'll find me. People call me biased. I'm not biased. I just support British. So, yeah, all good. So, thank you very much for having me on, lads. Find me wherever. I'm here, there, and everywhere. I'm usually in some live streams trolling somebody. And laughing about people being squirted at water, crying about it for 10 minutes like babies. But, yeah, all good. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, Icons. Thank you.
Fingers crossed, Icons, for me.
Hey, and by the way, man, when you're out there in the press conferences now, be safe, man. Water's being squirted at people, man. Shit's dangerous now. It's not like it was back in the day.
Be safe.
Tell me about it.
Be safe. Wear a jacket.
Be safe.
I will. A raincoat and an umbrella. Got it. Right, cheers, guys.
Cheers. Peace. Let's get to the 816 as right before I do 816. Sorry, I'm trying to send somebody a link. Shout out to Unrivaled Boxing Talking News. I don't know why the link isn't working for people right now. The Hangout link, everyone that had the link before is not working anymore. I don't know what's up.
Yeah, wasn't it a new one recently?
No, well, there was a new one, but I went back to the old one and started working again. So,
okay.
So that should be the case. But anyways, Unrivaled Boxing Talk just sent you the email, just so you know. So check that. Let's go to 816. Who is this? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Zulu calling from Grandview, Missouri.
Zulu, what's up, man? What do you want to discuss?
Yeah, first of all, good to hear back from you, Matt. I followed you guys a lot. I really love your opinion.
Thank you.
And your content. What I'm doing, what I want to know, what you guys' opinion is about the fight, pretty much with Miller and AJ. Barring the press conference was okay and everything like that. But from me watching it, I think I did detect some uncomfortable moments with AJ there, and I'm not sure that he's used to those uncomfortable moments. Coming here to the U.S., I have to give him a big shout out. I mean, personally, I believe AJ's going to beat the hell out of him personally, but I have to give him a lot of big ups for coming to America and fighting Jarrell Miller. This fight can turn out two ways, in my opinion. It can be a ugly wrestling match where you're going to get a lot of headbutts almost and a lot of grappling, and maybe AJ coming on, getting a decision at the end of it. Or it could be one of those situations where Jarrell Miller is so over anxious that he gets hit and gets set up with that uppercut, and he could possibly be knocked out. Now, we haven't seen him knocked out. We haven't really seen him hurt, so we don't know. But we also haven't seen him fight any real level competition, a real strong competition. Mm-hmm. It's a lot for. I think Jarrell Miller is in a place where he sinks or swims. What I mean by that is, if he goes in there and loses this match, it's going to be a very me personally, I think it's going to be something that deters his career for a moment. Now, it depends on how he takes the loss personally to see if he's able to come back from it. Now, the chance that he has, to me, he doesn't have I don't really give him a high chance of winning this fight. And listen, I'm a number one Deontay Wilder supporter, but I also like Anthony Joshua. I just don't like him against Deontay Wilder, but I like him against any other heavyweight in the division, to tell the truth. You guys were talking about biases. I'm an American. Of course, I'm going to be a little biased to American fighters when it comes to Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. That's a 50-50 fight to me. But when it comes to Anthony Joshua and Jarrell Big Baby Miller, I'm going with Anthony Joshua all the way from a boxer's perspective. I can't see Jarrell Miller doing anything but running into a whole bunch of punches and making it. And I can see Anthony Joshua grappling with him, tying him up every time, tying him up, and possibly Jarrell Miller getting stopped, possibly from cuts, from cuts, from just taking a lot of punishment, possibly. Now, as an American, I want Jarrell Miller to do well. That's me with my heart. But with my boxing sense, I don't see him winning this fight. I think Jarrell Miller is more of a bully than a beast. And I've always felt that way. He kind of bullied his wins. And one of his strategies is before he even gets in the ring with you, is to get in your head. He'll get in front of you, push you through this talk, and kind of get you out of your comfort zone. And I feel like in that press conference, I think a little bit now, regardless who won it, I don't really. A press conference doesn't mean anything. I'm just reading the body language.
Yeah.
I don't think Anthony Joshua has ever been pushed around like this in a sense, verbally and physically. So, my question to you guys is that, do you think it's first of all, I want to commend Anthony Joshua for coming to America and fighting what's a stiff challenge. It's going to be, even though I feel he's going to win this, no doubt, no question in my mind. He's the better fighter. He has the more experience. But it still can be an ugly fight because of the styles. I've never seen Anthony Joshua really go backwards. Can't say you have. If you with a man with a knockout record like that, he's not used to going backwards. So in Jarrell Miller, you've never seen him go backwards. So with you got two big men coming forward, it's going to be a lot of grappling. Some of the things, cuts can come in, headbutts can come in. So it can either be a spectacular fight as far as a knockout, but it's not going to be just two men in the middle like a traditional Mexican fight like we saw here this last weekend. It's not going to be just two men going in there, and just swinging in the middle of the ring because we're talking heavyweights here.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, with saying that, my question is, do you think that, me personally, I think Jarrell Miller is more bully than beast, and do you think that this is the style of this type of fight really calls for a boring fight, or will it be a spectacular fight? What do you guys think?
I can definitely understand why you're concerned about this fight ending in the clinch a lot of headbutts, sort of being an ugly affair. I can definitely see why you're worried about that. And plus, AJ sort of had that sort of fight before with Joseph Parker in a way,
right?
And Carlos Takam as well. Like we have seen him sort of have those sort of boring fights in a way. And plus, I would say while AJ can have really impeccable timing on the inside, he's not consistently working on the inside with combinations against opponents. That's not really his game. He's a mid-range guy and really a long-range guy on top of that, plus with the jab and the reach. Now, Miller, he's going to want to be on the inside. He's going to want to mix up close and tie up AJ, tire him out, use that weight against him. So I can see why you're worried about it being a, quote, boring fight. I don't think we're going to get that.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're more likely to get an entertaining fight. I think AJ should improve his inside game by now. I think he should be able to throw more comfortably, more consistently combinations up close. And if that's the case, then I think this fight could be really entertaining. And plus, I think AJ, obviously, like, you probably agree with this, AJ is the more technical boxer of the two. His combinations are more tight. His form is just really, really crisp. So I see if AJ can be successful and starts being composed with inside combinations, he might tear apart Big Baby as the fight goes on. He might just keep punching him mid-combination, off-beat, picking angles. That uppercut's going to be there. I think he's going to beat up Miller as the fight goes on. I think this is going to be a fun fight. I think Miller is going to produce an entertaining foil to AJ, and it's going to have exciting moments. But I think predominantly we're going to get a fun, competitive fight, but AJ is going to be winning most of the rounds, and AJ is going to get a finish probably round 8, 9, or 10. That's how I view the fight.
Right.
Rob, your thoughts on it? On if this fight could be boring, on how do you think the style matchups play out?
Yeah, I get the concern. I understand the concern behind it. I wonder if Big Baby can get a sort of under AJ, and we've seen AJ, I think, in a couple of fights, get a knock to the nose via a head. I think Takan done it, and I think he's had problems with his nose a few times, and it's been difficult for him. But I think as long as AJ can stick to boxing, not get emotionally involved with it, and look to try and rough it up and get in some kind of brawl, I think it will eventually start to tell on Big Baby, and he'll be taking too many shots. I think he can probably end up walking onto one of the Joshua uppercuts. I think he will just maybe take a little bit too much punishment. I could see the referee stopping this at some point.
Yeah, like Miller's still on his feet, but the ref just stopping it. I see that more likely, not a clean knockout.
If we do see a clean knockout on a 300-pound man, that's going to be something to watch. That's going to be some kind of like statement. I know Big Baby's not.
I'm thinking more stoppage. Because he's there all day to hit. We can look at his past fights, even with Marius Watt. Someone that was like that was just, he was hitting him when he wanted to. Yep. And that's not AJ hitting you. So you know what I'm saying. It's only so much the body can take. It doesn't make a difference how big he is or how good his jaw is. When you're getting it's just like a heavy bag. You punch it enough, you're gonna make some dents in it. You're gonna do some damage to it eventually. And I believe that's what's gonna happen with Big Baby Miller. But my only concern on AJ's part is if he has let Big Baby Miller get in his head, and will that affect his performance?
I don't think so.
I
don't think so. I mean, you mentioned like we haven't seen AJ like be with this type of opponent in this type of interaction before, especially in his pro career. I don't know about his amateur career, though I probably expect that he did not face this in his amateur career as well. Though I felt like he was in his element. Like, do you not feel that way, Zulu? Like, I thought he was laughing. I thought he was enjoying himself with the shit talk and the banter. Like, he felt like from the outside looking in, I saw two guys that were like enjoying themselves within the shit talk.
Right. Well, you know what I think. Man, I'm not saying that he was really, wasn't not necessarily enjoying it. I think he was a bit uncomfortable. This is me. I may be wrong. This is what I think I saw when Big Baby came out and set the precedence with that push.
Yes, no, I agree with that.
He kind of set the precedence like that, and that kind of made things sway. And you're hearing a lot of people who are 100% AJ supporters kind of saying they've never seen him like that before. So I mean, he's definitely not acting as he normally would act. Does he have his poker face on? Was that a poker face with the laughing and everything? I think it was more of a poker face than a genuine reaction.
I think his
even though I still pick him to win.
I think his corporate persona is the poker face.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest.
Right. I agree with you on that as well. I think that's more of at a macro level, but at a micro level, just at the press conference, I think it was more of a poker face because he was really kind of pissed off. And of course, you don't want to ruin this fight. But when the precedent, he let Jarrell Miller set the precedent that I'm going to be the bully, and he does that to all his fighters. It starts at the press conference. At the press conference, I'm going to be the bully. I'm going to bully you. I'm going to talk over you. I'm not going to let you have shining moments. And that's what he kind of does. And he brings that into the ring, but he does it in the press conferences and the other interactions prior to going into the ring. Now, I believe AJ is a great champion. I really do. This is going to show me something, and a lot of his other fans and people who may not be fans, how he really handles this particular style of pressure, which I think he, like you said, I don't know about his amateur career. I'm pretty sure in the amateur career, some of these things, there's no disrespect like there's no highlight like that, nothing highlighted like that. But this would be, I believe, the first time, and it will show if he can pull this off that what kind of a champion he really is. Even though unless he's fighting my man Deontay Wilder, I'm always backing that guy because he has shown to be a good champion. I just want to see him be a great, and I think this is a great move. Even though I wish it would have been Luis Ortiz personally, but we can only wish and hope, you know what I mean? But Jarrell Miller is not a walkover. He's not a stepping stone, but he is simply a bully. I mean, can you really say that he's really too technical, that he's not, big as he is, he's not really a hard one punch guy?
Mm-hmm.
He's a bully. And, you know, how do you always beat the bully, you know? In particular, well, you fight the bully. You don't be afraid of the bully. So what I'm saying is that if he's gotten in Joshua's head in any way, now I don't know for sure, but just what I think I picked up, Matt, like you said, he possibly didn't. You know, he possibly laughed it off. I think that's a poker face, once again at a micro level, just concerning the press conference. But it'll be interesting to see, because if Jarrell Miller can create any kind of doubt in you, he's going to run with it. It's just like a bully on the school, y'all. Being from, you know, Matt, you can relate to this in America. You know, when a bully thinks he's got you, he just, you know, he used the talk, he used his bravado and things of those nature to really defeat you in the mind before he does anything else. So what do you guys think about that? As far as, do you think he got in his head? I know Matt just saying probably not. Yeah,
nah,
okay.
I'll be honest.
What about Rob?
Rob, I mean, do you think that Miller is in AJ's head?
I don't think he's.
Is he living there rent free right now? Is he the landlord of AJ's head?
I don't know. He's in his head. It's consuming. I mean, Big Baby said Joshua's in his head. He's got a fucking screensaver on his phone. He's waking up thinking of Joshua. He's doing this about Joshua. But I don't know that he's necessarily got truly under his skin. I think he's done enough to probably just piss AJ off about it, but I don't think he's consumed with. I think had he been off the back of the shove, you would have seen Joshua do more than just return to the center of the ring with his hands behind his back. But I don't know. I think there were little moments, especially when Big Baby kept interrupting or shouting over the mic when AJ was trying to talk. I think there was a little bit of like, you want to, that guy kind of, you know, is pissing him off a bit. But I don't think he's, you know, deeply rooted in his brain and it's consuming him. But time will tell. Time will tell. We'll know when the first bell goes how Joshua feels about it.
Zulu, quick question for you before we do have to jump, and I just want your quick answer for this, just because we're on the sake of time. I do apologize, Zulu. Since you are a Wilder fan, and I'll be honest, it's very hard to get Wilder fans to call in because of our UK audience now dominating. And as a fellow Wilder fan, I like that you're on. I get to ask you a question. If you were advising Deontay Wilder, would you tell him to do A, go to ESPN, fight Tyson Fury, go take that big deal? Were you asking, or would you tell him to stay with PBC, stay with Showtime, stay with Fox, go get a big deal over there? What would you tell him to do?
Go to ESPN. And the reason I would say that, because I understand that he tries to be a champion or a man of character, and I applaud that. But now he's been showing this type of respect to Showtime and them for a while. I feel they should have offered him something by now. And I almost feel, in a sense, it's almost a little disrespectful that he hasn't, that they haven't. So why? So if go to ESPN, if they offer you, you know, X, Y, Z to go fight Tyson Fury, I would say go ahead and fight him. It wouldn't be that you're disloyal because you've been showing your loyalty. No, I don't believe Showtime would say, well, look, let's get a 5-deal fight with let's say 5-fight deal with Deontay Wilder. It's easy to sell. He's got 39 knockouts, 40 wins, and 1 draw. Every man that he's fought has touched the canvas if they weren't knocked out. How easy is that to sell? So I mean, to answer that question, I would say I think he should go. Based off the fact, I don't believe Showtime has showed any loyalty back to him in that area. They really tore him down in that fight against Tyson Fury, which me personally, I think he won. Now I understand, you know, Tyson Fury's entire success has been off the fact that he got up more than anything. And I'm not taking anything from him. I think he's a great, I love Tyson Fury. But the fact is, he didn't win the fight. And the fact is that Deontay Wilder didn't win the fight. It's a draw. And that's what I think the best way to look at it. So that would be my answer, brother.
Thank you, Zulu, for the call.
I'll be calling back in.
Thank you, man. Please call back in. I really appreciate it.
Be blessed.
Blessed to you, man.
Yes,
Let's go out to Unrivaled Boxing Talk and News on the international line. How you doing?
I'm not too bad. How's it going, Matt? What's up, Rob?
It's going good. Going good. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to discuss?
Just the vein popping out of Rob's head earlier about the Linares thing and the Crolla thing and the Lomachenko thing.
Go for it.
How big?
I wonder how you'd feel if I told you that Anthony Crolla's a piece of shit and he shouldn't be even getting a fight with Lomachenko. And the very fact that he does have no hope and his career will be ended. I want to know what you think of that. Because that...
I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but, I was speaking to it about, off of Keith Idek's opinion and how he worded it. I just don't think that's professional as a boxing.
Yeah, I mean, saying he has no hope. I mean, is it professional if anybody makes any type of money talking about a sport and they do make a bit of money and they give biased opinions all the time? I mean, nearly every channel on YouTube that's monetized.
I get what you're saying. I know what you mean, but I just for me, calling him a no-hoper, as a wordsmith or someone, a journalist, he could have maybe just said, big underdog, or I don't know. He
could have built him up, but I guess he wrote how he genuinely feels about it. I'd prefer somebody to actually give their genuine opinion.
Yeah,
I prefer that. I think that it might not be as professional. I still think it's honest. What would you rather, him lie about it? If he believes he has a hope, he wouldn't call him that. I mean, do you give him much of a hope, Rob? In all honesty,
I don't know. Honestly, I'm not in any way. Call me Matchroom or Crolla flag waver, but I'm still not picking him to win. I think he'll be. I don't know. It's just some of the stuff I've read that people have said about this matchup. That Crolla's going to die. Crolla's going to be put in a hospital after 2 rounds and all kinds of stupid shit. Yeah, you hit the sound bites, Matt. It's fine. I'm just trying to get that vein back out again for. But no, I'm not giving him much of a chance at all. If any, I think he's going to be massively outboxed for as many rounds as this fight goes. But I just don't see the need in saying he's facing a no-hoper that is only
It's mean.
Yeah, I would actually argue that this is Lomachenko's worst opponent since his very first fight.
Sorry, you cut out there a little bit after you said this would be Lomachenko's worst fight, and then you cut out. Can you repeat that? Unrivaled. Oh,
shame.
Yes, you there? Hello? No, he's cutting in and out.
I think he said since his first fight.
Unrivaled, are you there? Damn Unrivaled.
Things. The universe kicks in.
Sorry, Unrivaled. It's okay, man. It's okay. I just to sort of go on his point and his question, or right before he was cutting off and everything. I would not say Crolla is his worst opponent since his first fight. That is a gross, hyperbolic statement. Maybe you can argue it's his worst fight since 135. Obviously, because he's fought Linares and Pedraza. Those are his only fights at 135. So you can make an argument that Crolla's not as good as those guys, I think. And that's a decent argument, obviously. Obviously, Linares better than Crolla. I think Pedraza, we can probably agree, is better than Crolla. Right, Rob? That's not something that really we need to debate on. So, but first fight, nah. I mean, come on. He had some bad fights after that Salido loss. He had some tune-ups. Let's be honest. Let's keep it 100. But anyways, Rob, that is it for today. Let's get the outro music playing. Final thoughts, social media, all that stuff. Let the people know where to find you, Mr. Hearn.
Yeah, you can follow me at Instagram and Twitter at UKRobMCR. Wilder, big offer or tremendous offer. I don't know why you stack it up as a tremendous bigger than a really big offer, is
It
tremendous, lower than an astronomical offer.
It is.
Okay, as long as I know.
Yeah.
Well, at least you should make it then. Now I know the number.
Now you know, right? You're welcome.
But yeah, I guess the ball's kind of in his court. Will we see this fight happen still? Will it be next? Will we see it on ESPN? Will we see him back out of the fight? Will we see, Fury back out of the fight? We'll see. Wait for more news on that from these so-called writers. And yeah, Joshua Miller, big baby, done his thing. We've got all the little cutaway promo we need from it, the shove, all the little back and forth. I mean, DAZN have even put together the funniest bits of the press conference video. So it's not very often you can get a decent, comedy montage from a press conference, I guess. But so yeah, big baby kind of done what he was expected of him, I think, and helped push this fight. Obviously, I think ticket sales are going reasonably strong. I did see some tweets about sort of the 200 range seats. A lot of those have gone. So I don't know. We'll obviously wait on that. Lomachenko Crolla, yeah, obviously a one-sided fight, but I'm sure Loma will give it his best.
90 seconds.
Whoa, calm down there, Siri. Rob, it's okay, man. It's okay. You don't need to defend Loma here.
I didn't.
Not defend Loma. Sorry, defend Crolla. It's okay. We're all friends of Crolla here.
No, I said, it's a one-sided fight, and I'm sure Lomachenko will give it his best shot. But yeah, like we said at the start, if you guys can help out, contribute, head over to Patreon / Mixed Combat Radio.
Seconds.
Patreon. Matt will tell it properly in his outro, but yeah, any support you could do, really help out. We're trying to get some equipment together, trying to bring you the best we can bring at the time. We're still growing, we're not even monetized yet, but that's the aim, the goal, and to try and bring you more and more as the best we can. So thanks to everyone in the chat. The chat's been really good, played nicely.
They've been behaved today, man. I've had no racist comments in the chat this time, no trolls in the chat. It was a nice, pleasant chat today. I was shocked. What happened?
Pleasant / across the, a couple of little, certain people getting a little bit naughty in there. Talking about
nothing too bad. Nothing too bad.
No, from what has been in there before. Big improvement. Well done, class. Well done, class.
Air horns for you guys.
Yeah. So,
pat yourselves on the back, chat. You guys are great.
No, it's been good. I've been, sometimes it's hard. You can either get caught up in the chat and then, sorry, what did you say, Matt? Or do that and you're neglecting the chat. So it is kind of difficult. But yeah, we'll have to do this again.
Anyways, very quickly, some last wrap-up thoughts and housekeeping items. Remember, this 1 month drive we are having, and it's kind of like an unofficial. There's no meter somewhere you can look at for the drive, but just sort of unofficial. Head over to patreon.com / Mixed Combat Radio. That link is below in the description wherever you are listening or watching this show. Go spend $1 a month, and only for 1 month. That's all we're asking. For 1 month, for $1. That is it. If everyone does that, we will have enough money to buy Rob and Fugatti camera equipment and pay for a trip to New York for AJ Miller. And we're all going to be there, do a show there, all that fun stuff that you guys want to see, and put out more content going forward, long term. If Rob has camera equipment, he can't bitch to me about how he can't go get interviews. He has the camera equipment, so just keep telling him, nope, stop bitching, go get that interview. And with Fugatti, and he's in Texas. You guys want Earl Spence interviews? You guys want Charlo interviews? We're going to need Fugatti to get camera equipment. So again, patreon.com / Mixed Combat Radio. Go support. $1 a month for 1 month. That's all we are asking. And again, you get up to 4 shows a week on top of that. We put out what, Rob? 5, 6 regular shows a week now on average? I would say probably more now, honestly. But on Patreon, we're dropping another 4, 5, 6 podcasts a week. Exclusively to Patreon, and again, it's a little more laid back, a little more informal, a little bit more unprofessional, as Rob puts it. You know, we might call fighters no hopers there, and it's okay. You know, but relax, Rob. That's all you get triggered. You can find me at Hunter MCR all platforms. If you want to find the show anywhere or contact us anywhere, all that is below on the screen or in the description below. Hit the like button on your way out. Share the show. Subscribe. Listen to the podcast forum. Drop that 5-star review. And have a great day. Stay safe. Peace.